Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do, and I'll bet it can be hard work. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowner's or renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico Easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
It's 2:06 on Talk Radio 790 KABC. You're listening to The John Phillips Show. John is back on Monday. It's Randy Wang here till 3. The phone number to join us, 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. You can email the show, johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at RandyKABC. And if you miss any minute of The John Phillips Show, every hour is podcasted at KABC.com or anywhere you like podcasts. Just search The John Phillips Show. We just posted last hour, the Doctor Hour with Dr. Kelly Victory. You can download now at KABC.com. We've been doing a lot of recall talk lately, and it's because the recall is less than 50 days away for Governor Gavin Newsom. The election is September 14th. The latest polling is showing an increase in people that support recalling this governor. And in fact, of the people that said we don't want to recall him, they definitely want to get rid of him in 2022. And Newsom's overall approval rating going a little further down as the California Roaring Back plan was hit with new COVID restrictions. To talk to us about this and much, much more is one of the candidates for governor of California in the recall, Doug Ose. You can go to his website, OSE for California.com. Doug Ose, welcome to Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Randy, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing fantastic. Now, you're one of 46 candidates running in this recall election, so why don't you take a few seconds, introduce yourself to the audience. Who are you, and why should we vote for you?
So I'm a businessman from Sacramento. I served 3 terms in Congress some years ago. I've got interests in real estate and farming. I think the primary difference between me and others is I do things. I get things done. When I see a problem, I solve it, and then I move on to the next problem. So if you're talking about, getting your kids back in school or public safety in your neighborhood or having water come out of your faucet or what have you, I'm going to find the problem, I'm going to fix the problem, and then I'm going to move on, just like I did in the office and in my private sector.
Doug Ose, I want to put a hypothetical towards you because this election is going to be in September when school goes back in session in late August. Let's say the recall is successful and you become the next governor of California. And the teachers' unions, whether it's UTLA here locally or CTA up for the entire state of California, come to you and say, the Delta variant is rising too fast. We need to shut the schools down again. Our teachers will not put up with this. How do you deal with that?
The response needs to be, you've had 6 months at least to get yourself inoculated and ready to go back in the classroom. Private schools have proven that we can have kids in class with teachers at the blackboard safely. So you have a choice. You can continue teaching, or I'm going to figure out a way to replace you.
Doug Ose, Governor Newsom made headlines this week when his first of many press conferences where he announced a new policy that a lot of other places are now following with, where all state employees will have to prove that they've been vaccinated or get tested regularly until they do. Do you agree with that policy, and what would have you done to increase the vaccination rate in California, or do you think we even need to?
So every employer has the right to describe the terms under which employees work there. And then employees have the right to say whether or not they're going to work there or not. Newsom's demand that everybody get vaccinated or wear masks, frankly, at the state level, that's already the policy in play. It's the policy in play in the health systems up and down this state. My wife works in a hospital. She's been masked and vaccinated for at least 10 months. So saying that we're going to now do this, that's a misrepresentation because we're already doing it. My point here is that employers have choices, decisions to be made, and employees have options, and they should take advantage of the options that they have. If you don't want to work in an area that requires you to be vaccinated or requires you to wear a mask, then tender your resignation and move on.
We're speaking with Doug Ose, candidate for governor in the recall of Governor Gavin Newsom. I saw when I was driving in this morning, listening to the radio, that, hey, we had some great numbers federally. The United States unemployment numbers are down. However, in the state of California, the numbers are still going up. What's the difference there?
So the states that are open, are starting to thrive, all sound something other than CALIFORNIA. So unemployment is falling in these other states. California continues, as a matter of policy, to refuse to allow businesses to run their affairs the way businesses wish. There's mandate after mandate after mandate, accompanied with liability that the state refuses to address. And until they do address it by providing a safe harbor for businesses and employers against COVID, our unemployment rate is going to remain high.
Governor Newsom has been able to make a lot of these mandates and lockdown measures because he declared a state of emergency for COVID going all the way back to March of 2020. In fact, even when we reopened the state and Newsom went down to Universal Studios with Optimus Prime and everything was going to be great and we were giving away money, he did not end that state of emergency. And that state of emergency has empowered local public health agencies like the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health to pretty much rule us like a king. If you were governor, would you end that state of emergency?
I would, and I would put back on the backs of individuals the decision-making authority as to how they want to conduct their affairs. If you are willing to go to work wearing a mask, then so be it. The problem here is the state of California is mandating certain behavior that they have no business mandating. All right? That's the challenge. We need to figure out and give respect to individuals in terms of them exercising their individual decisions about how they wish to live their lives. It's just that basic. Government has no business dictating to people to this degree how they live their lives.
Let's talk about some of the issues that may have inspired people to sign the recall petition of Gavin Newsom, including it's at a ridiculous level of mismanagement at California's Employment Development Department, our unemployment department, whether it's the wait times, the people not being able to get their money, the $30 billion in fraud that we're definitely not getting back, to the point where there is a new policy of, we can't figure out who's fraudulent and who's not without slowing down the process for everybody. So we're going to do a pay first, find out if it's fraud later policy. What would you as governor do to fix the Employment Development Department?
The first thing I'd do, Randy, is I'd stop paying people to stay home. There are thousands of employers who cannot find sufficient staff today to run their operations, restaurants, assembly facilities, car repair places, gas stations, fast food. These people are all begging for workers, and yet the Employment Development Department, paired with the federal government money that's flowed in, is paying people to stay at home. That needs to stop. That will reduce federal outlays, it'll reduce state outlays, and it'll reinstitute people's self-respect because they'll have to go back to work. Over at EDD, we have a systems problem. The people in charge have ignored 4 years of advance notice that they have a problem, and when the tsunami of claims hit, they were woefully unprepared. We need to call people who are major employers who routinely process daily thousands of transactions. We need to figure out what systems they use to process those transactions daily without fraud. And then we need to take their system and use it to process unemployment insurance claims. It's basic, Randy. This is not rocket science. This is, here's a template that works. It works in thousands of different businesses without fraud overwhelming the protective measures, and people are able to get paid. They're able to get their compensation. It just boggles my mind
Well, and to that point, we're talking to candidate Doug Ose for governor of California. We have the technological capital of the world in Silicon Valley right here in California, the biggest tech companies, the smartest people when it comes to how the internet works. Yet it seems anytime a California state agency needs a website to interact with the public, it doesn't work, or they're starting from scratch to the point where it looks like a GeoCities page. What would you do as governor to enlist the help of the tech companies that are here to make sure that our state government runs as well as the tech websites that run the entire world?
I don't think you need to create something new. I think you need to go to companies like Paychex and ADP, Automated Data Processing, or Pro Systems, or EDS, or somebody like that, and say, show us what you've got for processing up to 1 million claims a month for unemployment insurance. And then you need to transition to that system. This is not a question of whether or not the systems are available. This is a question of our leaders have ignored this problem for years, and they got caught with their pants down when the COVID hit us, and now we're all paying for it, including $30 billion worth of fraud that's going to take us 10 years to pay off. This is just ridiculous.
We're speaking with Doug Ose. He is a former congressman and candidate for governor in the recall election of Gavin Newsom. One of the perpetual issues that faces California is water because, well, half of the state is built on top of a desert, so water issues are going to happen. We're in the middle of now an emergency situation with the drought in many parts of the state where the water boards and Newsom are starting to hint at mandatory water restrictions for all Californians. Is that the right move here?
So, Randy, our first bit of conversation here was about experience and what I bring to the table. So my sisters and I raised rice on 1,000 acres in the Sacramento Valley. The issue of water is not new to me. I don't know this on a theoretical basis. I know it on a real-world basis. I understand consumptive patterns. I understand intermittent flows. I understand pre-1914 water rights. I don't need a primer, as all these other candidates are going to have to get, in order to understand that we need more supply, we need more storage, we need better conveyance systems, and we need to do it now. And I would remind your listeners that the wisdom of the voters was very clear in 2014 when, by a 2-to-1 margin, they voted to start the construction of new storage facilities. And under first Governor Brown and now Governor Newsom, not a single thing has been accomplished to increasing storage. That will change if I'm governor.
And how do you speed up those processes where we're not waiting 30 years for a new reservoir?
Okay, so here in Los Angeles or some of the other cities around, they've passed exemptions for the creation of the Staples Center or Golden One Center in Sacramento, or the Warriors facility in San Francisco. And we're going to pass a legislative exemption for the construction of new water storage. We're going to hold the feet of the legislature to the fire, and we're going to get these things built. If they don't vote to do it, I'm going to their districts as governor, and I'm using the bully pulpit to make it clear to the people who elect them that these people are not doing their jobs. We need water storage. We haven't built any new storage since 1978, yet we've doubled our population.
Of course, not only is water policy one of the issues that Californians think about on a daily basis, fire policy is one as well.
Yep.
This state is in a perpetual fire season, and it's not helped at all by the fact that we have two power companies, mostly PG&E, but SoCal Edison, you're not getting off lightly either, that have not updated their infrastructure, and their equipment has caused wildfire after wildfire. It's been incredibly devastating. There have been lawsuits. There have been criminal complaints, although no one ever seems to go to jail. PG&E this week announced that they are finally going to start talking about putting 10,000 miles of power lines underground. Do you agree with that move? And more importantly, how do you hold them to that to make sure they actually do it?
I agree with the undergrounding of these power lines as a means of reducing risk of wildfire. And I'll tell you how we pay for it. For the last 15 years, under what's called Renewable Portfolio Standards, the environmentalists who control the Public Utilities Commission have forced us to pay premium prices for alternative power sources. So in California, whether you're in Southern California or Northern California, you're paying 75 to 80% higher rates for electricity than they pay in Arizona or Nevada or Oregon or Colorado. We need to stop subsidizing these politically driven power producers and start using the revenue to pay to underground these power lines. We ought to be paying about 10 or 11 cents for power. We're paying 18 or 19. That 7-cent difference spread across the state and the amount of power we consume is sufficient to fund the undergrounding of these power lines. This is a self-inflicted wound. The Democrats have imposed it upon us. We need to get out of this trap immediately. As governor, we will.
Companies like specifically PG&E kind of get a rubber stamp from the California Public Utilities Commission on whatever they want to do. Jerry Brown and Gavin Newsom have been instrumental in bailing them out time and time and time again. For a power company that large that is this destructive, can they be reformed, or does a company like that need to be broken up or maybe put into more public utilities?
So you need to, Randy, you need to understand the financial dynamic at play with these investor-owned utilities. They make their returns based on a percentage of cost. The higher the cost, the more money they make. So they are in on the game of going to these 18 and 19 cent per kilowatt hour prices. We need to reverse that. I don't think we can run a state as large as California by taking over into the public realm an investor-owned utility. I think that's a policy mistake. What we need to do is get back to fundamental business principles that anticipate risk of fire, provide funding to mitigate the exposure, which is these lines that are not underground, and then implement the solutions that put the lines underground and eliminate the fire risk. That's where we ought to go.
Doug Ose, candidate for governor, you will be taking part in this gubernatorial debate next week, right?
That's correct. I'm over here with Alex Michelson and Hugh Hewen at the Nixon Center. That's on the 5th, I believe.
August 4th from 6 o'clock to 7:30. It will be broadcast on Fox LA, and, of course, we'll have a ton of those clips the day after. So we'll hear more from you then. Good luck in the debate and good luck in the recall, and thanks so much for joining us. If you'd like to follow Doug Ose, you can follow him on Twitter at Doug, D-O-U-G, Ose, O-S-E. His website, oseforcalifornia.com. Doug Ose, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Randy. It's a great time.
800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to react to what you just heard, if you liked what you heard from Doug Ose, if you didn't like what you heard, who are you supporting in the recall? Are you supporting the recall? Let's get to you right now, 800-222-KABC. We just had a conversation with gubernatorial candidate Doug Ose. He gave out his platform. Did you like what you heard? Are you supporting him? Do you not like what you heard? Let me know your thoughts on the recall of Gavin Newsom because, well, we're about 48 days away from that election. 800-222-KABC. Who are you supporting in the recall? Is it Kevin Paprath, the YouTube guy? 800-222-5222. Let's start with Stephanie in Simi Valley. You're on the John Phillips Show.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
I have a question about the recall.
Yes.
When does it all the Republicans' votes get split up between the 48 candidates, or is this a runoff? We're saying we want Newsom out and we want this guy in, but if it splits between all the Republicans, then how is anybody going to win against him?
So here's how this works specifically. There are 2 questions on the ballot that you will be getting next month for the election on September 14th. The first question is straight out, do you want Governor Newsom recalled? Yes or no? That question needs 51% or, over 50% from voters to pass. If that passes, we go to question 2, and that's where you have your 46 candidates. Whoever is the top vote getter, they don't need a majority, they just need a plurality of votes, they will become the next governor of California. So if you look at the most recent polling, it had, of the top candidates, Larry Elder with 18%, Kevin Falconer and John Cox with 10%, Doug Osei and Kevin Kiley with 5%, Caitlin and Kevin Paprath with 3%. Even though the top vote getter there would be Larry Elder with 18%, he would become the next governor if that poll was accurate and the election was held today.
Okay, that's great to know. I liked what Doug Osei had to say. I just didn't understand how it worked. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much for the call. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. 1-800-222-5222. We'll take more of your phone calls and your thoughts on the recall and our interview with Doug Osei. And we'll be giving away some tickets to Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening later this hour right here on The John Phillips Show. It's Randy Wang here till 3 on Talk Radio 790 KABC. By the way, you can always email us at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And you can hit me on Twitter at RandyKABC. We just had a conversation with California gubernatorial candidate Doug Osei. One of the things we talked about was the problem that a lot of small businesses like restaurants are having of getting employees. There's a lot of demand for people to go to restaurants, but there's not a lot of demand for people to work at restaurants. And that has one restaurant in Stockton taking a different approach. If I can't hire people, maybe I can hire a robot. Let's listen to a Sacramento local news report on that.
The newest restaurant worker might be a bit stiff without much personality, but most likely...
Somebody wrote that. The attempts at humor at local news are funny for all the wrong reasons.
The newest restaurant worker might be a bit stiff without much personality, but most likely they'll still want those tips. A Stockton restaurant hiring a different kind of help.
You know, like so many restaurants, they're battling a worker shortage, but determined to stay in business, they turn to extra help that's not even human.
Can I get the chicken marsala over there, please?
The food gets called out,
Large Greek salad.
and picked up, but the way it rolls out and gets delivered is something else.
The table that is closest to the patio, I press go, and it will take it right out.
A robot made of food trays, taking a load off General Manager Ana Ortiz, struggling with the worker shortage. Her employees are stretched thin.
It is exhausting.
If you can picture a stepping stool with different little levels and imagine it has a bunch of food trays, that's what this robot is. It's like a Roomba that brings your meal to you inside the restaurant.
It is exhausting, but thank goodness our customers are really good.
Ortiz made the call to hire a high-tech employee. The autonomous tech takes the food straight from the kitchen to a designated area until a server can hand it all out, saving everyone a lot of time and energy, especially during the lunch rush.
It is a lifesaver. You know, it helps us bring out all of the food.
Some much-needed relief, but not a replacement. Ortiz says customers will still get one-on-one interaction with employees taking orders and making their drinks.
Okay, so you're still getting a live server who's going to have that personality that makes you want to tip more than 15%. As someone that used to work in a restaurant, please always tip more than 15% because, that job is incredibly difficult. They don't have to worry about running the food to their station because the robot is going to run it for them. I love this. This is fantastic. I mean, we are going to be getting to a point where there are more jobs available than people that want to do them, where people are, took the last year and they're looking at different opportunities they want to do. There are probably some people that, yes, they were unemployed last year and they took that time to better themselves, to learn new skills, and now they're much more valuable. So it is understandable that for a job like a busser or a food runner, there's going to be less people that want to do that. Yes, there's also the factor of people are still getting paid extra $300 plus regular unemployment to stay home, and there's people that would gladly not work if they can get paid more not to work. But overall, this is a trend that we're going to be going towards. There are so many more fields for people to make a living, and it's great that we can have robotic technology do things like take the food from the kitchen and bring it to the dining room.
We don't want to give that up. We love to see our people. We love to see their faces, and we love to see them happy. And after a while, they become family to us.
Servers turn bartenders needing a break with the restaurant robot to the rescue.
Is this the direction restaurants are moving in now because of this worker shortage?
For us, sense. I'm not sure if everybody is going to go in the same direction, but it makes sense for us right now because of the shortage of employees. This is the only solution we're finding.
Well, Ortiz tells me the robot is actually being used as part of a 2-week trial, but because it's been such a great help, the bistro plans on keeping it even after that trial is up.
Oh, is this a situation like you don't have to pay for the robot, try it for 2 weeks, see if you like it, and then they'll say, nah, we didn't really like it. And then they call a different robot company the next week and say, hey, can I get one of those 2-week trials? There are people out there who never have to pay for a gym membership because they find every free trial, free week membership you can get and just go around and around and around. And sure, they have to change their name every once in a while, but that's how you do it. So that's how that restaurant is staying in business. Another way some restaurants are staying in business is by getting your name out there in the press. They say any press is good press, and that was true for Tony Roman. He is the owner of that restaurant you've been hearing about in Huntington Beach, Basquilo's Pasta e Vino, because he has a sign out front that says, you must show proof of non-vaccination to enter. And what do you know? That got the attention of CNN's Chris Cuomo. And what ensued last night was a good old-fashioned screaming match between two Italians. Let's listen.
Okay. You have vaccine resistant, skeptical, hesitant. And then you have just, I'm not taking it. A restaurant owner in California posted signs calling on customers to show proof that they have not gotten the vaccine. He's also banned diners from wearing masks inside and put up this massive billboard that says, leave the mask, take the cannoli. Of course, it has to be an Italian guy, and he's using the Godfather. Anyway.
Chris Cuomo gets very offended when anybody does anything to stereotype Italians. In a sense, he's also stereotyping Italians the same way.
Tony Roman is the owner of Basilico's Pasta e Vino, and he joins me now from inside his restaurant. Welcome.
Man, you said the name perfectly. You said it perfectly. Good job. Now I know you're Italian.
It's because I speak the language. Let me guess, you don't. But here's what I'm asking.
Hey, he goes in with snark right away. Let's let the guy make his case before you go after him.
Tony.
I love it.
Is this a little bit of a joke?
Fire
Can you give me some hope that you really don't want people to not get vaccinated so they can come to your restaurant?
It's a good question. You're a smart guy. It's an IQ test. And like I say to people when they ask me, if they're so blinded with their rage and their hate, I tell them, you know what, if you still don't understand it, maybe we should put up a sign up that says you're too stupid to come into the restaurant. I mean, it's very simple. Just like you said, I think you figured it out. Am I right?
I don't even know what you're saying right now. Tell me. So what's
I don't really totally understand what he's saying either. But I know that, guess what? Smart people and stupid people have appetites. And I wouldn't want to offend any of them if I was operating an Italian restaurant. But maybe he's decided that there's enough people like-minded in Huntington Beach to keep him busy and serving cannolis left and right. Let's continue here. This is the owner of Basquilo's Pasta e Vino, Tony Roman, getting into a good old-fashioned Italian brawl with Chris Cuomo last night.
I'm saying we're making a point.
And so
you answered the question.
So you haven't been vaccinated. Nobody in your family's been vaccinated.
If I answer that, are you going to answer that when I ask you?
Yeah, sure. Ask me whatever you want. Now answer my question.
I'm not vaccinated. Are you?
I am. How about your parents, your wife, your kids?
You were hesitant.
No, I got vaccinated.
I'm gonna ask you the same. I'm gonna ask you the same thing. Is that all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Who's interviewing who here?
No. Is your family vaccinated?
Yes.
See, what you're not getting, you're failing the IQ test. What you're not getting, which I expected. What you're not getting is that this is not an anti-vaccine stand. It's a pro-freedom stand. That's what you're not getting.
I'm pretty sure it's an anti-vaccine stand.
What is the difference when you are ignoring the science that suggests that if you get vaccinated, you protect yourself, you protect the people around you, and you help us get out of this pandemic a little bit faster?
Love the Italian music in the background because the guy's doing this interview from his restaurant. You can see food and dishes going all around.
So what's next then? Are we all going to lock ourselves in our homes whenever there's a flu outbreak or there's an outbreak of a common cold? Are we going to lock ourselves inside our homes and wear a moon suit? I mean, where does it end?
It ends with you getting the vaccine so that this virus doesn't keep replicating and creating variants that we need to find ways to combat. The whole reason this is happening is because people won't protect themselves, Tony. I mean, what are you thinking?
It's about to get real personal here.
Then why did you leave your house when you had COVID? I mean, you had it, and you left your house. I mean, it's been documented.
First
right?
of all,
So
it has been documented.
I want you to answer that.
My ass, it's been documented.
Starting to get a little angry, that Chris Cuomo.
I quarantined. I went out. My wife got accosted by somebody.
I don't know, man.
And I know you don't know, so I'm trying to help you. The science is clear, Tony.
You're trying to help me.
I don't want you to get sick the way I was sick.
The science is clear. Oh, you care about me all of a sudden, huh?
Enough to have you on the show because I don't like people making bad decisions for themselves and their family. I was hoping it was a little bit of a stunt.
Oh.
You have the freedom not to take the vaccine. I just don't know why you think it's a good move.
Maybe we should ask your brother about protecting people, right?
Well, when you back in restaurateur Tony Roman into a corner, what's he going to do? Attack Chris Cuomo on the easiest thing to attack Chris Cuomo on, his brother Andrew Cuomo.
Maybe we should ask your brother about protecting people, right?
Look, that's his job, and if he doesn't do it well, people won't vote for him.
That's a whole new can of worms.
But look, Tony, I don't know if you know me too well. I don't shy away from much.
My stand is not a political stand.
It's pretty political. You're putting up a sign that says, only the unvaccinated may enter. That's a political stance.
Yeah, good. I appreciate it.
I would like to have a sign that said, we make the biggest meatballs in Huntington Beach. That would get me in the door. Don't care about the vaccine part. I'm vaccinated. I'm protected. How are your meatballs?
Yeah, good. I appreciate that, too, because I know you talk a lot. So my stance here is a pro-freedom stand only. It's not political. You're never going to... If you come down here, you're not going to see a Trump flag flying over the roof, okay? You're not going to see campaign signs. You're not going to see campaign slogans or political slogans ever, okay? You're only going to see pro-freedom messages, and that's it.
Yeah, that's political, but sure. Say that it's not political. Okay.
And you're not going to drag me down the hole talking about the science. This is not about whether I'm pro-vaccine or not. I'm pro-freedom, anti-tyranny, okay? And, maybe the conversation should really be between me and your brother. That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe so. You're pro-freedom, but people can't wear masks. Tony, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. I gave you a chance to make the case. I wish you well. I hope your family stays safe.
I made my case. You didn't have much to say.
I mean, honestly, you sound like an idiot, so there's not much to say. But, Tony, good luck with it. See you.
And so do you.
Yeah. Only for having you on the show. That was my only mistake. Look, it's just
Well, it was entertaining for me, at least for 3 minutes. So if you're in Huntington Beach and you don't want to wear a mask and you want to be around other people that don't want to wear a mask and are definitely not vaccinated and you're not worried about the Rona, why don't you head down to Basquio's Pasta e Vino over in Huntington Beach and enjoy yourself.